Hello everyone, welcome back to our series on local SEO in Adelaide and South Australia. In this series, we are exploring the towns and suburbs and cities of Adelaide and South Australia, doing some local SEO analysis, and looking at different strategies, different tips. Yeah, thanks for joining us. So in this episode, I'm going to be going through some businesses in Woodside in the Adelaide Hills, on Cooperinga Valley, Torrens Valley. And I just want to open it up though quickly by just looking at what you can see on your screen here, which is the sort of local SEO guidelines from Google themselves. So in the first episode, or sort of an introduction episode of this series, I went through some local SEO ranking factors from the perspective of the professional SEO community. And I did mention Google has their own sort of guidelines, and to sort of certainly be aware of those, but to sort of take them with a grain of salt. Know that they're not, there's more that can be done beyond what they give you. But I didn't actually go through them at all. So I just wanted to quickly go through them here. So you have that information as well. So, I mean, this isn't everything. This is sort of an overview, and you can drill down on different topics. So I'll put the link to this in the description below, and you can check that out. But basically, there's different information here about what to do. I'm not going to go through it in detail. I just wanted to highlight the three main areas that they separate it down into, or the ranking factors essentially. So that's got it here. It's relevance, distance, and prominence. So relevance is basically the business, how closely the business matches what the person's actually searching for, so the relevance of that business to the query. And that's where things like the category come into play that we mentioned, things like keywords in the business name, and then also other factors about the information that's in the business profile itself. So could be keywords mentioned in reviews, could be keywords mentioned in the description, could be keywords on the landing page that's linked to the business listing, the Google business listing. So that's basically what it says here, I believe. Distance, that's about proximity or vicinity factors. So how close the business, the physical location of the business is to either the location in the query. So in this case, in the example we're doing today, it's Woodside. So, I could be in, Stirling or Crafers or something, but I might search for, say, a restaurant in Woodside. So even though I'm not physically in Woodside, Google knows that I'm searching for businesses in Woodside, because I've used the word Woodside. However, if I don't use a geographic keyword in a search, then Google can still infer that it's a local search based on the type of query it is and other factors, and they'll use what they know about my physical location to try and figure that out. So one example would be like pizza delivery. So if they're not going to show you pizza restaurants in a different country or a different state, obviously they know that you're looking for something in the local area, and they'll use what they know about your physical location, which they can get from things like your mobile device information if you're on a mobile device, or they have other ways of getting location data like IP address and whatnot if you're on a desktop. So that's the distance side of things. And then prominence is sort of another big bucket that a bunch of things fall into. And that's really where a lot of the work gets done, I guess, particularly in competitive markets. So distance, you can't really change. Relevance, yes, you can fill out your business profile, make sure that the keywords are in there, make sure it's aligned towards the topic or the business type that you have. But the big one really is this group of prominence, what's known as prominence factors. And this is where this is where sort of local SEO connects back in with sort of traditional SEO or general SEO, where you're talking about more about the website rather than the business listing. So it sort of relates to getting keywords on the website. And then there's things about link building. So I don't think they are very explicit with mentioning links in this little description here, but that is basically, they sort of allude to it being sort of well known within the community, and you know, the only way they're going to really know how well known you are is by the data that they have. So they do have some of this sort of data with the Google local platform. So Google Maps, obviously, they can see where people are going, and so they see sort of foot traffic, if you like, of different businesses and driving directions and stuff like that. But they're definitely in this case also talking about you know, your business being mentioned in a local newspaper or on local blogs, like an online newspaper, local blogs, local websites, having links from those websites going to your website, and also directories and things like that. So that's what this prominence one is about. And this is probably, like I said, where the majority of the work gets done once you have the basics in place. So once you have these other sort of factors in place, and particularly in competitive markets, this is where a lot of the work gets done for improving your rankings. Okay, I think that's enough. It's a little just bit of an overview on that. And again, I'll put the link to that in the description below. So like I said, today we're looking at Woodside in the Adelaide Hills, just up the road from the place we looked up at in our first episode, which was Balhanna and Oakbank, I guess. Yeah, so if it's your first time here, so what we do with these episodes is we just do a sort of casual exploration of a location, in this case Woodside, and want to look at a few different businesses, make some comments on how they're doing their local SEO, what they're doing well, what they're doing, you know, what could be improved, opportunities, maybe notice anything interesting. So it's worth noting that not every single business that Google knows about in a location will show up on a map, and I just look at it like this. I'm not 100% sure how they surface exactly, you know, how they surface the businesses that do show. There's certainly some information going into that, like say the time of day, or maybe Google might guess as to what you could be looking for in your search, like the reason that you're on the map today. So maybe if it's around lunchtime or dinner time, they think, okay, maybe they're more likely to be looking at restaurants or something. But, you know, there's lots of different factors that, you know, could affect what you were looking for. So I don't think it's that, you know, it's not that, you can't predetermine it that well. But anyway, one of the few of the ones that really jump out at me at first are Woodside Providor, which I think is a restaurant. What's this cafe here? And Loberthal Bakery, the famous Loberthal Bakery, the branch Woodside, as they put it. And there's various wine vineyards around the place as well, and some more sort of community-orientated things. Network Club, church, homes, not sure what that is exactly. Some kind of educational, okay, primary school. I also wanted to show you just something, what the navigation of local businesses looks like if we're coming from the search results. So in this case, I've started on the map and I'm just kind of looking at businesses that appear. But another way of sort of consuming this information is if we're in search results and we search for businesses. So I've just done sort of generic-ish search, a category search, if you like, restaurants in Woodside. And there's the ones come up. There's that Providor restaurant again. Prospect and Secret Pizza Business. Sounds interesting. And you've got your map here on the right, and then your organic, localized organic results down here. There's Woodside Providor as well. So they're obviously doing something well. They're showing up a lot. And I did another search here, which is, so I did cellar door. Interesting to note, I searched for cellar door. I didn't mention the word winery, but Google sort of knows what I'm looking for here. They've mentioned wineries there. They know I'm looking for something related to wineries, and that's what they've put up here. This one's actually mentioned as a wine bar, whereas these two are wineries. Interestingly, some keywords in the business name here. Again, this is an approved strategy under Google's guidelines if this matches your registered business name. If it doesn't, then it's technically not allowed, but go back to my original introduction video for the series for sort of deeper explanation on that. And that in some situations it's kind of recommended, but it's not technically within the guidelines, but you can have to watch that video to learn more about that. But this is an example of that, basically. So not quite sure what the business's name is, but they've put some keywords in here, cellar door. So I searched for cellar door. They've got the word cellar door right there, and they're ranking top. So I don't think that's a coincidence. Okay, let's jump back into the map, and let's open up Woodside Providore. Looking really good. 300 reviews with a 4.5 rating. That's definitely what you want to see. Opening hours, websites filled out. I will open the website, and I'll come back to that in a second. I'll just make a quick note on this thing here. So you may have seen this around. I wonder what this is. It's sort of some kind of location, an alternative address feature, if you like, that Google came up with to pinpoint addresses. I think it uses sort of GPS type stuff, and they translate it into this code. I'm not sure. I haven't really seen much utility for it, but I think it probably is most relevant in places, perhaps rural places, rural properties, rural places within a country like Australia. It might become relevant, but we've got our own sort of ways of pinpointing rural properties, which are good, better and worse, I guess. I don't know. Depends perhaps on the area and whatnot. But certainly it could be more relevant in countries that don't have a very good infrastructure for addresses and whatnot. So yeah, anyway, that's what that is. Popular times, good information there. Lots of photos. Like typically, restaurants benefit from having lots of community input from their users. So you'll usually find plenty of reviews on restaurants, whereas other business types can struggle to get reviews for various reasons. But restaurants and cafes and whatnot, hospitality businesses typically have plenty of photos, plenty of reviews and ratings. And you can see all of that. When you have those things, this is where you see how that really adds to the listing. So anyone who's browsing for a restaurant in Woodside has all this information to consume when they're making their choice. So obviously the great looking reviews and ratings, but then snippets of reviews with the highlighted words, which kind of, hopefully it speaks to what they're looking for. So there's obviously coffee and coffee shop highlighted in here, food, atmosphere, staff, and then a similar sort of thing down here where you can filter the reviews by these things. So this is like, the reason to encourage these things, and there's things you can do to encourage your customers to leave reviews, to upload photos and whatnot. And this is the benefit you can get. You can get all this extra information in here. Whereas if you just look at a business that doesn't really have any information, then, I mean, yes, you can still convince a user to come visit you. Maybe they just, maybe they already know about you, or for some reason they already want to go and visit you. But certainly having all this information is helpful. If you have information and it's negative, so it's bad reviews, bad ratings, not so flattering photos, yes, that could work against you. So that's probably perhaps worse than having no information, but chances are, if you're in business, you've got to have customers that have good things to say about you. So basically, you want to have those people contribute. And if you have an issue with some bad information ending up in there, then the way around it is really to have more of your happy customers leave their positive feedback and information, not to try and discourage any kind of information. It's always better to get more of the good stuff, basically. So I'll take a quick look at the photos they've got here. So most of these are going to be from users, not from the business itself. So interestingly, these categories, vibe, I believe, is just determined by Google itself. Food and drink. Wow, it looks pretty good actually. And then it's got latest. So there isn't actually that many photos. So this business could encourage more photos. Information looks pretty comprehensive. Got to make sure they keep that updated. Opening hours in particular, that's something that can really annoy people if they, think a business is open and it's not for whatever reason. Whether it's a big error with the opening hours that they're completely different, or it's just the business was closed on a one-off. But it's helpful to update those hours, even if just for a one-off. You can put temporary hours in there for holidays and stuff, and just for one-offs as well. You might save someone a trip across the hills, across town, or whatever, which can leave people with a negative experience. Even if they didn't have a chance to visit your business, they might leave a negative review just based on that alone. So always good to keep your hours updated. Again, as I mentioned on a previous episode, replying to reviews is another thing you can do. It doesn't look like this business is doing any review replying, so that would be something they could do. I just noticed something here. So this is a new feature, I believe that Google's testing, where they show, they ask the user when they leave a review, they ask them some more information, some more structured sort of questions around their visit. So sort of service, I guess this is dining, takeaway, etc., delivery perhaps, and a meal type lunch. So they're going to use that information in the back end. Google tests a lot of things all the time. They're not necessarily going to keep this as a feature, but there's a chance they'll keep it, and it does seem like useful information that they could use. Okay, I don't think there's much more to say about this business. They're doing pretty well, I think. Yes, I was going to take a quick look at the website. Wow, great website, great. First page, big photos. Now, page title, that's important. We can see when I hover my mouse over the tab up here, I get to see the page title. Woodside property showcasing Adelaide Hills food, and I go here. Okay, I don't get to see what the end of it is. So that's a sort of a tip, I guess. Google will truncate long page titles. So you want to make sure you get, you certainly want to make sure the more important information is further to the front of the title, so you can get that included. It might also be, it's based on a pixel width rather than characters, but characters is a good sort of proxy for that. So 50 to 60 characters is usually a good limit. Now this is changing all the time, and on different devices it can also be different, but 50 to 60 characters is a good kind of a guideline. Also, you might want to use, instead of using the word and, you could use an ampersand, something like an ampersand or a little plus to save characters, basically, or to save space, and you get more words in. what else? So I got a menu on here, which is good. Location. Yep, so, you know, basic website, but it's good for, it's got most of the information you would probably want for a restaurant. I noticed that there aren't actually, there's an option usually for restaurants to link to their menu, which they haven't done here. Also, there's often a photo section called menu. Now, so there's an option for business owners to upload photos as the business, so from within the dashboard. And from memory, I don't think, well, I can't remember actually if restaurants have the option to add menu photos specifically. So if they do, then obviously you'd want to do that. If they don't, there's still the option to add photos as a user. So just log into your, if you're the business owner, log into your personal Google account, jump on your mobile, take some photos of your menu and upload them as if you were a regular user. And then Google will recognize those as menu photos and they'll put them within the photo section. And that's an opportunity for you to get menu information in there. And it's an area that people often look at. Okay, I think that's enough of this business. Let's take a look at Loberthal Bakery, a famous Adelaide Hills business. I believe they have, well, at least 3 branches in Loberthal, obviously, Woodside and Stirling. I'm not sure if the Stirling branch is still there or not. As I had previously mentioned, it's okay if you've got a chain or a franchise, it's okay to put a location keyword or geographic keyword within your GMB, your Google My Business listing name, even if it's not included in your registered business name. I don't know why they've said branch Woodside rather than Woodside branch. That sounds a bit odd to me. But anyway. Great photo up here. You can't actually choose what photo goes here. Now you can choose a cover photo. And I guess that would often be chosen by Google as the first photo to show, but it's not a guarantee. They'll show all sorts of photos there, both here in this position and when the business shows up in search results. But it's good to have a shop front photo. It's a great sort of first photo for people. And, you know, obviously it looks pretty good there with the signage and everything. Also, they've got good reviews here. They've got the correct category with bakery there. They want to make sure they've got good secondary categories as well in the back end. Got their website there. They've got their opening hours, their address, popular times. Okay, this is an example of the menu. Sort of Google pulling out menu within the photos that I mentioned just before. So it's not strictly a menu, it's sort of a specials board of sorts. Or maybe it's a menu, I guess. So that's the only photo. So this is another opportunity where Loberthal Bakery could if they have a menu, I mean, a bakery doesn't necessarily have a menu because they've got maybe different sorts of goods each day and whatnot. So if they had a menu, they could upload some photos to it here. Display case, that's interesting. I haven't noticed that as an independent category before. So that's, again, this is where Google just uses their machine learning basically to understand what a photo is about or get a sense of what kind of category a photo would fit into. So that's how they know when things are food or drink. Display case, that's something else that I can obviously detect glass in there and like the structure of it to know, you know, what that photo is about. Vibe is another one. Oh. Okay, so the vibe actually just looks like it's basically the same as display case. So that's a bit of an error on Google's part, I guess. Food and drink. Again, you can upload these photos as the business from within your dashboard. Another idea, another strategy I've sort of seen mentioned, which I don't know how, I mean, I think it would be useful. It has sort of limited use depending on the business type. Basically, the idea is you get if you have employees, you get your employees to act as if they're customers. And so that would include, so when they come to work in the morning, they look for directions. They specifically type the business name into their Google Maps, and they do directions, go to the business, take photos, upload their photos to the business profile from their own personal profiles, and fill out the information that there's something that Google will do with visitors is they'll ask them questions like yes, no questions or simple questions about the business to gain additional information. So that's something employees could add information to. The idea is here to sort of emulate a customer, and because you're employees, hopefully you've got some ability to instruct them to do things like this. And it just helps to get that information into the business. And from Google's perspective, it might add a little bit of, as far as Google's concerned, it might add a bit of extra information for them to consider your business to be, say, popular or, deserving of ranking higher, because they can see that there's interaction there. That's fake a little bit in this case, but this is one of the things that we try to do to try and sort of bump up a business. I wouldn't get them to leave reviews though, because that is a touchy subject, and you do want to be careful about fake reviews. So I wouldn't usually recommend faking reviews. Again, doesn't seem like the business is replying to reviews, so that's an opportunity. For them. Okay, might do one more and then we'll close it out, or at least we'll move on to our last segment. I've got Woodside Pool. Oh, so there's no information on this. It's not really even a business listing. It's a oh, okay, right. So the business listing, or the place listing, is this one here at this place. So probably in this case, the Woodside Pool one that I clicked on was automatically added through sort of MapStar that Google acquired, and then this business was sort of created. There may be an opportunity to merge the two, and that could make things a little bit better in terms of visibility, in terms of rankings and whatnot. Or there may not be. So it depends a little bit on the structure of Google's sort of data in the back end, how they want these things displayed, particularly when it comes to things that are sort of local amenities. They're not quite businesses in the same sense. But I do think there's probably an opportunity here to consolidate or get this shown, because when I looked at the map, I didn't actually see, it didn't look like a regular business. So yeah, it just has a grey map marker, and that doesn't stand out as much. And also if I mouse over it, it doesn't give me any information here. Whereas if I mouse over these other businesses, I'm getting photos, I'm getting reviews and stuff. So it's definitely not as good for the business or for the location to not have the business showing up. So if I click on the actual listing here, so this is what they would really want to show. Adelaide Hills Swimming Centre, brackets Woodside, public swimming pool. It's got the reviews. It's got website, opening hours. So there's a few photos and there's not a whole lot of photos. So that's definitely an opportunity because it's something that people are going to be interested in. Web results, a bit more information there. Yeah, so the main thing with these sorts of businesses is making sure your information is up to date for sure. So opening hours. I think better photos, you could add more photos there. You could encourage more reviews. I mean, I got 84 reviews, plenty of reviews. But you could respond to reviews as well. That'd be good. And yeah, the main recommendation here would be to try and either consolidate or get rid of that sort of blank map icon, which was showing up before, and replace it with the proper place name. It may have something to do with the business name here. It's a bit, so often Google would try to automatically consolidate information, but it's quite different. It says Adelaide Hills Swimming Centre brackets Woodside, as opposed to the other one being Woodside Pool or something, Woodside Swimming Pool. So yes, obviously they're similar, but they're not really similar enough, probably, that Google's not really sure that they're the same thing. Okay, I think that's enough analysis for this episode. Hopefully that was interesting. Again, comments, questions, suggestions, gripes, etc. Put them in the comments below. Now, the last sort of segment of the episode, we do a geographic game. So if you know about this area, or you just want to learn some more about the area, or challenge me, get to know the area better, then stick around for the game. I just have to switch tabs. Hopefully I can figure out how to do that. Okay. Right, here we are. So we're in the Geoguessr tab now. So this is a new map I've just created, centered around Woodside. Now, the idea of this game is that you get 5 different locations. You get plopped down on the map in street view mode. So that's where you can see the streetscape, and you can click and navigate around as if you were on the street. It's going to be 5 locations within this area that's highlighted here. So we've got Woodside in the center, and they've got some surrounding streets and whatnot. And basically you get a score out of 5,000, 5,000 being the maximum, if you get within 25 meters of the location. So sorry, once you get placed down, you get to open up a Google map within the game, and you get to try and pinpoint where you think you are based on looking around and whatnot. If you get within 25 meters, you get the 5,000 points. And if you're further away than 25 meters, you get a score out of 5,000. And then your total score for the game will be the aggregate of your 5 location scores. And there's also a time element. So if you've got the same score as someone else, for instance, it's often the case that 2 people might get full marks, full score, but one person's going to be faster. So obviously the more time you take, the easier it is to get a good score. So you want to do a combination of being accurate and being quick. It's a fun game. I will be doing that in a separate video because I need to use different software for that. But I'll leave a link to that video in the description down below. So I hope to see you there. And thanks very much for watching today. I hope to see you again soon for another episode. And yeah, see you then.